Hey there, welcome to a very special episode of Talking WWE. This time it's more of a commentary podcast style because I'm joined with a good friend of mine.
Hello there, folks. My name is Matt, aka Rambo Rap for Life, and my good friend Mike here invited me to be a part of this Talking WWE.
Yes. And I wanted to be part of this because I know he has some thoughts to say about the current product. And this is going to be a video about WWE or WWF now versus back then. And I mainly decided to do this because I've gotten burned out on weekly Raw and Smackdown reviews because I've just noticed it's just the same old shit week in and week out. And the stories are just really shitty. Um, the the booking isn't very good. The people who work on creative need to be fired because they obviously don't respect their fan base. And even if it is a story building thing, there's no excuse to do some of the stuff that they're doing, like making people jobbers that shouldn't be, and burying people right and left, and so forth. And WWE isn't in the place right now that they can afford to do this type of stuff. I mean, their last pay-per-view didn't even have 14,000 people show up.
Mm-hmm.
That's that's really bad. That's like less people than that's maybe a high school football game in a really big high school. But yeah, it's pretty pathetic. But mainly, I wanted to. I'm done. I'm not. This is my declaring that I'm done with the weekly reviews, but I'm still going to be going back to doing WrestleMania pay-per-views, reviewing the old WrestleManias. I'm going to be doing videos like this. I'm going to be talking about certain wrestlers that I like or don't like. And mainly I just noticed after watching this current product, then watching some of the older matches and older Raws and older SmackDowns on YouTube lately, and comparing the two, it's just night and day. And why do I want to watch this at best time waster of a product when I can watch actual good Raw and SmackDowns or actually really good memorable matches from the past with wrestlers I genuinely love and are some of my favorite wrestlers. Unlike what's right now in WWE, I don't mind certain wrestlers like Roman Reigns, Dolph Ziggler, or Daniel Bryan or Dean Ambrose, but I don't love them. So there's nobody I really truly love. So that doesn't make it a good product worth watching. And you got ridiculous, stupid shit. I mean, there's way too many fucking jobbers in WWE right now. You have Adam Rose and his fucking rosebuds with their annoying ass bullshit. Da 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 da. Oh, oh. It's like fucking annoying. He's a shitty wrestler. He wears guy liner. He looks like fucking Russell Brand in wrestling tights. Nobody wants to see that. And I guess he used to be Leo Kruger, which I vaguely remember that character, but he must not have left that much of an impression on me. And you have the fucking Easter Bunny on the roster. I mean, well, what's your thoughts on that, Matt? Easter Bunny on the roster.
Um, it's like the Gobbledygooker,
Yeah,
Max Moon,
yeah,
Damien Demento,
exactly.
um,
Booger Bastion. Yeah, that kind of stupid
Bastion Booger,
Bastion Booger. My mistake.
Mantar.
Well, we have technically a little Minotaur. That's on the roster now. Like a what is it, like
um,
a El Toro or some shit?
El
A
Torito.
Torito, El Dorito.
Um, my quick thoughts to start off. I haven't watched WWE, the current product, in a
I don't
long
blame
time
him.
for a reason. Because even just watching clips on YouTube is enough to tell the story. Hearing the stuff that goes on is enough to tell the story. Watching the characters just from YouTube alone, let alone sitting down and watching for 3 hours, and I'm like,
Yeah,
but I'm not wasting my money. I'm not wasting my time, and because that's the best way to go against WWE, folks, is empty arena or losing money, which they've
That's what
lost
happened
money
with
consistently.
WCW. That's what happened with WCW eventually. So
Well, the big thing was there was a Time Warner merger where Time
yeah.
Warner said we don't want to be in the wrestling business anymore,
Oh yeah. Now I
and
remember
then
that.
Eric Bischoff was going to buy it, but then
Yeah.
Time Warner pretty much said no, and they're like, we're not in the wrestling business anymore. We don't care
I
about
think I
wrestling.
meant TNA because that's kind of what happened with TNA.
Well,
Is
they're still
after
around.
they're still around, but not nearly as big as it used to be. That's what I
Well, I
meant.
think they're on, was it Discovery now or
They're on
something?
Travel or whatever, Destination America or some shit, or Discovery. But what I meant is TNA used to be at a certain point when they first started. They used to be pretty big. They used to have a lot of really sold out shows, and they barely sell out now. So that's kind of
I don't even remember that. I haven't seen a lot of TNA, to be honest. I mean, the wrestling I've watched pretty much, folks, is just going back and watching the older
yeah.
stuff. Because that's what I care
It's
about.
kind of like films
But
today. It's like, why would I want to watch shitty remakes and fucking PG-13 horror films when I could watch much better movies that released in the 80s and 90s? It's the same sort of thing with wrestling, sadly. It's like, at best, I might have an entertaining match, but it's not memorable. It's not something I'm going to remember for the rest of my life, like some of the matches I've seen before in the past. Like the Hell in the Cell with the Undertaker and Mick Foley and all that kind of stuff. It's just
well, it's a number of things. I mean, where there's not much of competition, so they can
no.
go easy on themselves, and they don't have to. Even though technically they should have competition with UFC, NFL, NBA, because
Yeah.
if you look at the
They keep
statistics,
bragging saying that they are the most watched show on cable networks, but I'm
but they're
like,
not. If you do the research, they're
yeah,
like at number 3 or number 5 or number.
yeah,
They're not, and
exactly.
they've lost money consistently. If you look back when Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant, what was it, over 30 million?
Yeah,
It was like that's a Super Bowl number.
yeah,
You look at the Attitude Era, you see how many people, even people who didn't give a fuck about wrestling, were watching wrestling
yeah,
on the Monday Night Wars.
exactly.
Nowadays, regular people, they don't give a shit about wrestling. They don't watch wrestling. And I'm sure there are people out there who's like, who the fuck is John Cena? Who's
Yeah.
John Cena? Because he's not, yeah, he's a big star just from default of being there for a champion for at least a decade or
I definitely
something.
think I used to like him, but nowadays I just realize how overrated he is and how mediocre of a wrestler he always has been, and the fact that he's been tagged with 15 title reigns is fucking bullshit. And I don't appreciate that. I don't like that, and that's way too many damn titles for that man to have held. And even Hulk Hogan hasn't held that many. It, I mean, some of the best wrestlers haven't even held that many titles that many times.
Exactly. But I mean, we're in a PG era
Yeah,
where we have a lot of people who are they're not doing much with, and
it's like they're
you
just
have a
telling the
lot of
fans
useless
to fuck
people as well.
off. Yeah, you have fans like the Divas division, which is pretty useless. Fucking total diva show on E Network. Nobody fucking gives a shit about. But the one wrestler that some people that I've noticed, and I actually do like her, is Paige, and she's different, and she's starting to get a fan base, and WWE's just fucking her over,
Okay, let me
and
ask you a quick
giving the
question.
title to Nikki Bella because she's John Cena's girlfriend. Yeah.
Boy, yeah, John Cena's girlfriend. I was going to ask, was there a Divas match on the current one you watched?
Yeah, there was, and
How long was it?
that's one of the reasons. 30 seconds. That's why I was pissed.
30 seconds.
It was a ripoff because it was like the finger poke of doom for Paige and her fans. It was supposed to be a tag team match with her and a friend of hers, which I think her name is Emma, I think, and she was gonna go face off. They were going to face off against the Bella Twins. Paige doesn't even get to tag in. Emma gets blindsided, gets beat real quick. Paige gets knocked off the apron before she can even tag in, and the Bellas win the match in like 30 seconds. I don't
No,
care if that's a
yeah.
story that you're building. That's a shitty thing to do. It's like the
Here's
finger poke of doom. It's like, fuck you, fans of Paige, or even fans of wrestling, and fans of, the show. That's just a useless match now.
well,
That's a waste of people's time.
I think for the majority of people, the division is a
Yeah,
complete
it's a
joke.
complete joke, but you have the
It's a
one
bathroom
character.
break.
Yeah, but you have the one wrestler that's starting to get over with people from that division, and you're just fucking her over. It's like you're
This
raping
John
her.
Cena's girlfriend
And
has to
it's
be a
just like,
champ.
why? What? I know, exactly.
Politics.
Politics, exactly. That's why
That,
so many of The Rock's relatives are in WWE. Roman Reigns and the Usos.
well, even the Rod, his dad and
Yeah.
so on. Or maybe not his dad, but well, maybe yeah, his
Well,
dad.
Rikishi is the Usos'
I think
father, I
they're
think.
all related
Yeah.
in some way.
And
But
they're talented, I'll give them that, but that's a lot of family in one company. Um,
but here's the thing. I mean, I'll get back to this, but back in the day when it was WWF, it made sense why it was called WWF.
yeah.
Here, it's less about wrestling, more about quote entertainment, and it's shitty entertainment.
Yeah, it's not that
And
entertaining.
they're also really stupid. I mean, this is the same company that I found this out. Guess who's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame?
The Bushwhackers, right?
Yeah,
I know. I saw
the
that
Bushwhack.
video and I was like, I don't care for the Bushwhackers. I
No, I
never
mean,
have.
not Diamond
I
Dallas
thought they were
Page.
annoying. And they never won. Did they ever win a tag team title?
No, they were just there for little kids
Yeah.
to lick little kids' faces.
Yeah. That's awful. Look little kids' faces. That's disgusting.
I mean, I would like to know like what tag teams are actually in there. I mean, I would hope the
Yeah.
Legion of Doom
Yeah.
or Demolition.
Yeah. Well, you
Um,
have somebody, a recent tag team that I hate called the Ascension that is basically just ripping off the Legion of Doom and Demolition and doing a shitty, piss poor job of it and giving promos every week, and they don't deserve them. It's like, why are we keeping this shitty tag team promos? They can't do promos to save their lives. The Ascension are literally a gay bar tag team. All that they're missing is fucking assless chaps, so that people can have perfect a landing spot, perfect place to just fuck them right up the ass whenever they want to. Fuck the Ascension. And their whole gimmick is they're a heel that badmouths older tag teams, but it's like you're new and you suck and you can't do a promo, and so it's just laughable and people are booing you because you suck, not because you're a good heel. They're booing you because you suck. There's a big difference. But yeah, you have wrestlers that are over, like Dolph Ziggler, who has gotten fucked over in back-to-back pay-per-views. He wins.
He's a jobber now.
Yeah, he wins a few matches on Raw or SmackDown, but basically he's a jobber now. And this is a guy who's been with the company for a long time. Yeah, he's one of the Spirit Squad guys. They had to start somewhere. I mean, Steve Austin was the ringmaster. I mean,
A lot of people like him, right?
yeah, a lot of people like Dolph Ziggler,
And they're not going to do anything with him, even though people like him. That's the thing that doesn't make sense. If people like him, but we're not going to do anything with him.
Kofi Kingston, people like Kofi Kingston, and he's just part of this New Day tag team, and he's never had a title run, never had an opportunity, and he's one of the most talented wrestlers on the roster. You have, I understand Ryback supposedly hurts people, and so does Jack Swagger, but Ryback, he hurts people in the ring, okay? But so does Brock Lesnar, and he's the WWE champion, so there's a shitty excuse to not give somebody more,
which they can't afford, which is why he's barely there.
Exactly.
And they can't afford it because WWE is not making that much money like they did in the past. And I heard
that the contracts are not going well, talks between Brock and WWE, because Brock's like, I want to be paid. I don't blame him. It's like, if you're not going to pay me what I want, I'll go to UFC and I will get what I want.
Yeah, and you look at if it was the Attitude Era where they could afford people like Mike Tyson and so on and so forth, yeah, they would afford it.
Who do they got
now? That's how much money they lost.
This joke bullshit, and when Raw was having an anonymous GM, and this is when I gave up, and I only recently started trying to watch it again, just because I was getting back into wrestling. I thought, why not? maybe it got a little bit better, but I don't think so, honestly. It was just, I remember just being about just as mediocre and lame as it was before when I stopped watching it, when you had these guest hosts like Pee Wee Herman and the fucking Muppets. I mean, I like the Muppets, but I
And the
don't,
Three Stooges.
but they have no business hosting Raw. I mean,
No, this is stuff that would happen in the Max Moon
yeah,
shooting Nerf guns or where the hell he shot. And Gobbledygooker, a fucking
yeah,
turkey that came out of an egg during Survivor Series or
yeah,
whatever. And Damien Demento, and you had the Bashing Booger who
yeah,
looked like he had almost a diaper on and
yeah.
eating wrestling
It's
ice
like
cream bars.
WCW at its worst to me is still more
RoboCop.
entertaining
Hey,
than
they
what
have
WWE has at the moment. I mean, yeah, RoboCop shows it's really stupid, but it's entertaining because it's
RoboCop
hilarious.
though,
You're like, what the fuck is RoboCop doing here?
and it's RoboCop.
Yeah. But
No,
then
I mean, okay.
I mean,
Let me
even
say
the
to some
shitty,
people
stupid
here.
matches. I mean, like the Pinata match. It was funny. I mean, at least you have these entertaining, even WCW at its worst, like the Yeti. That is hilarious. I'm more entertained by Hulk Hogan getting fucked by the fucking Yeti than a lot of the matches I've seen lately. So, I mean, that's sad when WCW at its nadir, at its like worst, is like that whole OMG on WCW is better than
That
Fastlane.
DVD, the DVD called "Oh My God: The 50
Yeah,
Craziest Moments in WCW History."
yeah,
Uh, Here's the thing. I mean, first off, I gotta mention I don't like John Cena, who was the face of the company for the longest time. I've never liked him. I never cared for his Thugonomics wannabe Vanilla Ice shtick. I never cared for his promos. I never cared for his Fruity Pebble shtick. He looks like a Starburst creamed on his face and on his clothes. His promos do nothing for me. He's about as phony as a $3 bill. He's a phony. That's the thing. He's
yeah,
a fake. When Stone Cold talked, you bought it. When The Rock talked,
yeah.
you bought it.
You don't
When
buy
Hulk
John Cena.
Hogan, you bought it. And he knows it.
And he's got like this accent going on too, so it kind of sounds like a Southern fried
You've been watching it
old
recently,
man.
right?
Yeah, and it just,
Let me ask
it's
you.
kind of pathetic. It's pathetic. Just,
Let me ask
it's
you a
like,
question.
yeah.
Does anyone go Cena sucks
Oh yeah, there's people who do that.
every
But there's
time?
almost every time, but there's also people who still have signs and like Cena and so forth. It's still divided between them. If there's
And
one
that's the
thing I'm
thing.
going to say about John
He's the
Cena,
only
he's been,
guy. I mean, you just say Roman Reigns, but that's because of the circumstances.
yeah,
But what I understand, for years,
yeah,
he has been people saying that you suck.
yeah,
Now, if it was anyone else, they would turn him a bad guy, a
yeah,
heel. And the people, Stone Cold, he started off as a heel pretty much.
yeah,
Bret Hart turned heel. Hulk Hogan turned heel. Roddy Piper was a
yeah.
heel. A lot of the great stars
But
were heels.
John
Brock
Cena can't
Lesnar.
do it. I don't think he can do it. See, that's
But
the
he hasn't
thing.
tried.
I know, but he hasn't
I
tried.
mean,
And
maybe he was kind of a bad guy at the beginning, but he didn't try,
I was,
and he won't try.
I am interested in it. I really think he needs to go that direction because he can't keep up this all-American good old boy shtick for very much longer. He really can't. He's been keeping it up for too long anyway. Never give up, blah, 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 blah. And this whole thing with Rusev is just a rehash of what happened with the manga. This unstoppable guy who can't be beat and blah, 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 and made Cena pass out, made him quit. I saw that already.
Yeah, and he'll win the U.S. Championship, and
Yeah.
because he'll be the USA, and that'll be a WrestleMania.
And then Rusev is just Nikolai Volkov.
And I don't care for John Cena's wrestling. He never
I'll give him
impressed
this.
me.
He's been
Strong, yeah. Okay, I'll give him
strong, and
like,
he's been
maybe
a
a
good
bodybuilder.
He's been a good employee. I will give him that, and he's done a lot of good things for charity and whatever for the armed forces. Kudos.
Well, I mean, the
Okay,
charity.
kudos.
Here's the thing with
that's a separate thing.
But here's the thing with the charity.
In the ring.
All the wrestlers.
That's
do.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Every wrestler do it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I really hate. They only show that John Cena does.
Yeah, and that's not cool.
And that's what I don't get. All these other wrestlers, they do it. Mark Henry, a lot of people, they do charity. Don't believe me, look it up. But all they do to get people to not boo him, hey, here's John Cena with some sick kids.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cheap.
That's cheap, and that is bad. I didn't
Why don't
know
you
that.
show everybody?
See, I didn't know that.
But here's my point though.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't prove it, but why don't you show everyone who does charity?
Yeah.
Because all the wrestlers do. Why do you only consistently show just one person?
At least the NFL has this thing every year called, I think, the Man of the Year, where they have nominees and of these men, football players who do great things for their community. And it's not all the same person. Sometimes it is. Sometimes a person's like a multi-nominee, but there's all different types of people who do it. And
same in wrestling, and they only show one guy.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, they've only shown one guy. I'm sure it's not just one guy. And
no.
200?
No.
150?
No way.
And also, I'm tired of his military stuff because he was never in the military.
No.
You're in a shitty movie called The Marine. That's it. Just because you were in a shitty movie called The Marine doesn't mean you should salute like you were in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
My brother was in the Marine Corps. You weren't.
Exactly.
John Cena. I hate his shtick. I'm not going to bash anyone who likes him.
I was not.
That's not what I'm going to do.
I used to be a fan, but
that's fine. I just never was.
And that's fine. That's fine too. I'm not a fan anymore because I see exactly what you see. He's just fake. He's so fake, and I don't
10 years,
buy him.
No one.
I
don't. Even Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Was a face for 10 years. 85 to 91. That wasn't 10. No. At least 10 years.
And but people doubted that Hulk could pull off the heel, but he did an amazing job with it, and really one of the best heel turns ever, in my opinion. Hulk's Hollywood Hulk Hogan NWO phase. John Cena needs to try something like that, but
he never will.
Even if he does, I think it's going to suck.
But I don't think he ever will. Because the kids.
Yeah, for the kids, and he just can't. He can't act. He can't do it. And
which is another thing that sucks about him.
Exactly.
He's the top guy.
He can't
for
act.
At least a decade. That's why I went away from wrestling. Because we went from Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock, and even people like maybe Edge or Hulk Hogan and Bret Hart to John Cena.
And his Fruity Pebbles and the Flintstones.
And just one of those things that just... I mean, I'm going all over the place, folks. I apologize.
No, that's cool.
There's a lot of things that just bug me. Like, I personally liked CM Punk.
Yeah.
He had a title reign for a year.
He had one of the longest title reigns in WWE, but I don't think he ever was in WrestleMania.
But look at the pay-per-views.
Yeah.
From what I understand, most pay-per-views, he was never in the main fight. It was John Cena.
Exactly.
So even though he was a champion, he was still... Like, something I heard, which was interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard this. That Blu-ray of CM Punk.
Uh-huh.
Good, what you call babyface. Oh, this is a really good documentary.
Yeah.
You know. Apparently, quickly after that came out, he didn't want to turn the bad guy, but they said, no, you got to turn the bad guy.
Oh.
And it's like, oh, yeah. Okay, I don't want to, but that's what you tell me to.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to fight The Rock. And then The Rock's going to leave, and you don't lose. You don't fight Brock Lesnar, and you don't lose, and then he's going to leave. You don't fight another guy who's going to lose. You don't lose, he's going to leave. It's like, so he's a champion that fights and loses with these guys that come in and then leave.
That's bullshit.
And then a champion that never got main and WrestleMania or most pay-per-views of his year, from what I understand.
I
looked into.
Yeah, I think he got pushed because of the circumstances. I know people are going to say that's not why, but I do feel that he got pushed heavily after Chris Benoit, after what happened with Chris Benoit. Because you have this straight-laced guy who says he's a straight-laced superstar. He doesn't drink. He doesn't take any drugs.
Also, he did he did like a pipe bomb, which he talked about the politics.
Yeah.
And a lot of people liked him.
Yeah.
Like people.
I never hated CM Punk. I liked him when he was the was the likable when he wasn't a heel. But of course, when you're a heel, you're supposed to hate him. So he did a good job with that.
But they made him do that.
But he didn't want to do that, and
because John Cena has to be the top guy.
Exactly.
To sell more.
But CM Punk is better than John Cena.
And sell more
John Cena at his best which it isn't very good. CM
they need
Punk
the guy to sell
better.
those Scooby-Doo Flintstone movies. Yeah, John Cena.
Like, who's gonna fucking give a shit about those movies anyway?
And I just look at the roster. I'm like, Adam Rose, great. He's called the Rosebud. That's an asshole.
Yeah.
You know what? He's calling people rosebuds, and look up definition of rosebuds. That's assholes.
So that's what Citizen Kane was talking about before he died.
It's gold does look like.
He's talking about asshole. Okay, he was insulting everybody who gave him shit before he died.
So you have a guy who makes gold does look like John Wayne.
Yes.
Yeah,
Stardust.
Bad News Barrett, who was hot when he was with the Nexus?
Yeah.
Where they invaded.
Accent. Like,
they did nothing with him. No one gives a shit.
I don't buy his British accent at all. It is totally fake.
And then he's a character that no one gives a shit now.
I don't give a shit about Ben.
But yet he's the Intercontinental Champion, right?
Yeah.
But then this guy
rarely ever wrestles on Raw or SmackDown. Like it's like every other week or every other 2 weeks. He'll show up when Dean Ambrose was just beating jobbers to try to get his attention. Then he'd show up on B&Z, the Bad News Network. And his whole thing is he's a fucking bitch. At Fastlane, he ran away from Dean Ambrose in the match so he could keep his title, so Dean Ambrose took the title and just walked out with it. I like Dean Ambrose. So,
from what I've seen of Dean Ambrose, he seems like a good one. He seems like people like. But let me ask you. From what I understand, that guy has never won a pay-per-view.
No, he hasn't won. I don't think he has
a single pay.
And that's bullshit.
So a guy people like, let him lose on every pay-per-view.
I know.
And I'm like, where is the logic? Would you have...
He's better than Seth Rollins. He's 10 times better than Seth Rollins. And Seth Rollins is supposedly the future of WWE. Well, it's because that's the whole authorities angle.
Well, no, Roman Reigns is.
Well, yeah, I know. But Seth Rollins is considered the future. I think Roman Reigns in some respects is, but I don't mind him in the ring. It's just I think he's athletic. He's got power. But his mic skills suck, and he's a shitty actor. So he needs to get that shit in line and learn how to not flub the word beat. Because I don't know how the fuck you can flub saying the word beat and say breet instead. I really don't. I mean...
I remember hearing that one. He did another one where he fucked up his line, so he just stared at the camera because he forgot his lines. Like, Roman Reigns, like, he forgot his line, so he just stared at the camera as if, like... Fuck, I forgot my line. What? That's what I heard from someone. I can't confirm.
He can't act, and he was supposed to. He's supposed to be intimidating with Paul Heyman and Raw, and it just didn't work.
But when the guy
says, like, I don't care if Brock Lesnar doesn't like. I don't care if you don't like me. Brock Lesnar isn't gonna like me anyway after this match or after I'm done with him or whatever. And then believe that. That's his whole thing, is believe that. And I'm like, yeah, I believe what?
So wait, he doesn't care, but he does care?
No, he said, I messed it up. That's me messing that up, because I don't remember exactly what he said, because it was forgettable.
This is the same night that said, like, Southern Succotash. And I think I heard somewhere, like, he referenced himself as Superman or something.
Yeah.
Like, tall buildings.
He's got the Superman punch. I know, it's the Superman punch.
But
it's not even a punch. He hits you with his forearm. That's not a punch. That's not a punch. A punch is with your fist. There's no such thing as a forearm punch. It doesn't exist. I'm sorry.
Now, am I right that on a newer one, someone was saying, you're going to be a bigger superstar than Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Yeah, that's pretty much what Paul Heyman was setting him up. Paul Heyman was setting him up. He was saying, if it was Roman Reigns versus whoever, Hulk Hogan in 1980, blah, 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 1985, or Roman Reigns versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, my money is on Roman Reigns. But you're not just facing any other man. at WrestleMania. You're facing the Beast, Brock Lesnar, and my
So
money
Roman
is not on
Reigns.
you.
So Roman Reigns would beat Hogan, and Roman Reigns would be
I
Stone.
think I think Heyman was being sarcastic. He was messing with Roman Reigns because he was setting him up
It doesn't
to
sound like
say
it, but
it doesn't sound like it, but right afterwards he's saying,
it's like you're good, so we gotta build you,
yeah, I
and
know,
then you're gonna beat the guy who beat the
yeah,
streak
it's
because Brock Lesnar's
21
not going
and
to sign
1.
back.
But he didn't say that he's going to beat the streak. He
I
said,
know, no, I
but
mean, no, I mean he's going to be the guy who's going to beat Brock Lesnar who beat the streak.
yeah, probably.
We all know
More
that's going
than
to happen
likely.
because Brock Lesnar isn't going to
And then
sign.
Seth Rollins is probably going to come and take the title from him, and then we're going to have Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns sometime
SummerSlam.
later.
SummerSlam.
But yeah, I mean, I didn't care for that if he wasn't being sarcastic, and even if he was, it's not even that funny. It's insulting to this new guy. My money is on Roman Reigns, and even fans in the crowd were like, "Boo!" I'm like, yeah, that's bullshit.
Now, how many pay-per-view matches have Roman Reigns had? I'm not
I don't know
crapping on
for
it. I'm just
sure, and I'm
curious.
not like the super biggest expert on Roman Reigns, but
Okay,
he's
I'm just
had,
curious.
he won at Fastlane, he won the Royal Rumble controversially, but I gotta give kudos to WWE for fixing that issue. People weren't happy with how that ended, so they set up the match with Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns at Fastlane.
So Daniel Bryan can go, he's good. Like him.
Yeah, I
You
guess.
need to like him.
I don't think
So we're passing the
personally I like
torch.
Daniel Bryan, but in a way I don't think he wanted any part of Brock Lesnar this soon after he had surgery on his neck. This part of me is what I can understand why you would do that, but if that's not the case, that sucks. But at the same time, I would not be surprised if behind the scenes Daniel Bryan was like, he hurts people. I'm lucky I'm still wrestling right now after what happened. I don't want to be slammed on my neck 50 times. I mean, maybe if he had more months to rehab on it, then maybe that'd be a better time. But
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I have no
Like I said, I
idea.
haven't been watching
It's
because I
complete speculation.
really a lot of these people I just don't give two shits about. But that's
No, and then
why.
you have Randy Orton comes back, and Randy. It's like it's weird. It's like watching wrestling now. I've started to warm up to wrestlers that I didn't like when I was younger because they were just good heels. That's the reason why I didn't like them. Like Randy Orton and Edge. And
I mean, hell, this is the same company that dumbasses like Alberto Del Rio and The
yes,
Miz
I know.
at main event at
Oh
WrestleMania.
God, yeah.
And where are they now? Because they
Uh,
were so good back then. Well,
Alberto
no,
Del
they
Rio. I
weren't.
don't even think Alberto Del Rio is even with WWE anymore.
And yet he had a main event at WrestleMania.
And The
He was
Miz is
that.
still here. And I don't know. I have no idea why. Because The Miz isn't awesome. The Miz is awful.
He's with Miz now,
I know, but it's
which
like
everyone watches him instead
yeah.
of The Miz.
I hate The Miz. I don't want to see his Marine 4. I don't want to see his fucking face. I hate the fucking Miz. He's always been a shitty wrestler. I don't care if he's good with promos. He's not even that great with promos in the first place. He's a shitty wrestler. He's a shitty character. He's got nothing that is remotely memorable about him. His show is a ripoff of the highlight reel. He's a shitty Chris Jericho with none of the charisma, none of the actual genuine. He's not actually funny like Chris Jericho was and still is, and he's just a shitty wrestler. And he still has a job. I don't know why. I have no idea. Nobody is holding up signs. I love the Miz. When his promo, when he
I don't
starts
care about The
walking into the
Miz.
ring, you don't hear people going, "Yeah, the Miz." No, you
I
hear
don't care about The Miz
silence
either.
until the Mizdow shows up, and then they're like, "Yay, Mizdow!" I mean, he should have been fired a long time ago. I mean, this is the business where Evan Bourne is no longer wrestling, and he was an extremely talented wrestler with some really impressive athletic acrobatic moves. He hurts his leg, and then he never gets another shot. You got Sheamus. Sheamus is coming back. They keep building up this return to Sheamus. Yeah, I know.
Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Sheamus is coming back. Great. Some Irish stereotype. Lovely.
Guy, if you look at it, you go blind. It's as bright as the sun.
He's got his jizz hair.
Don't give a fuck about Sheamus. What's so great about Sheamus?
Exactly. Not much. I hated it when they were pushing him so much when he was like a champion. It's like they just keep pushing like The Miz. The Miz has won every title except for the Battle Royale at WrestleMania. That's fucking bullshit. This shitty...
Well, speaking of which...
Overrated. Not even overrated, because nobody even puts him on the list of best wrestlers.
What happened to Cesaro?
Cesaro, yeah. Cesaro's another wrestler.
He won the Andre the Giant Battle Royale.
He won the Andre the Giant Battle Royale, and is now one part of a tag team with Tyson Rubber Gloves Kid.
In a tag team division that doesn't seem much of
I like the Usos, but they seem like the only really... And now Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, so there's somebody there. But
they didn't fight each other.
Yeah, but the rest of them are just shitty. Like El Torito and El Toro, it's a joke.
Little people.
Slater Gator, well, that's no longer around because...
Keith Slater or something?
Yeah, but because, what's his name? Titus O'Neil. Titus O'Neil rejoined with Darren Young for the Primetime Players, which I'm like, I don't give a shit about the Primetime Players tag team in the first place. They're reunited. Whoa, great. We have the Ascension, who's a shitty poor man's Road Warriors or a shitty poor man's fucking Demolition. This is fucking terrible. The shitty promos. And there's no charisma and chemistry in the ring. They just beat up on people and that's it. Great. And, yeah, you have New Day, which is Kofi Kingston and I think Big E and another guy. And...
Also, let me ask you another question. Is there a lot of talking? I remember there being a lot of talking.
Yes.
A lot of talking.
The last Raw...
talking about shit that we already know.
The last Raw was way too much talking. Like, it started out with Randy Orton saying... Seth Rollins, get your ass out here, and then the Authority showing up and talking and say, Randy, come back home. I'm like, shut up, Stephanie McMahon. I don't want to... This isn't the Stephanie McMahon show.
It's still a 3-hour show.
Yeah.
And
like the first 10 minutes, 5,
really
6
not much
minutes
wrestling.
Was talking, and then Randy Orton finally saying, a business meeting. Okay, I'll be there.
So, how long do you think the show is without commercials?
Well, I know it's only... I know I watch it without commercials, so I know it's 2.5 hours or something like that.
So if there's probably, at most half an hour wrestling?
I wouldn't say that. I don't know. I mean, maybe
40 minutes.
Yeah, because there are all these fucking promos and all this fucking recaps from last week or.
See, here's one thing that's...
It's like, why do I want to watch a recap of Fastlane?
Just, it's like, where's the wrestling?
Yeah, I already saw Fastlane. I don't need to see... Do you understand, WWE? You're no longer appealing to the normal everyday Joe who might have missed Fastlane. The people who are watching WWE are people who are really diehard fans.
Well, they've been losing money for a long time. They don't want to.
They already see that. They've already seen Fastlane. They don't need to see recaps of Fastlane. They don't need to see recaps of last week's SmackDown on SmackDown. They don't need to see recaps of last week's Raw on Raw. And they don't need to hear you keep shilling the WWE fucking network every fucking chance you get.
Wait, that's another thing. That WWE network. Wasn't that supposed to, by this point, get like 2 or 3 or 4 million subscribers?
It was just lucky to get 1 million recently.
And obviously they're doing so good that they say, hey, let's have a free month. No, you don't have a free month when you're doing good. You have a free month when you're doing bad.
Yeah.
That's when you look at deals of companies that are doing bad. It's like, hey, let's lower the price or let's...
Exactly.
I mean, this is, again, I think a long time ago they're supposed to have at least 2-3 million, and they've just barely have a million.
Yeah.
And it's like, back in the day,
And after Royal Rumble, there's a lot of people who canceled. That started this trending thing about cancel the network after the Rumble. So,
it's just like, what the hell are you
yeah.
watching for? You know, back in the day, I will say one thing they had that I think that was one thing that's missing. People who are just there to be jobbers.
Yeah.
You had the Brooklyn Brawler. You
Yeah.
had all these people that you have the superstars that you like come in, wrestle, beat them in 5 minutes, so it'd be a quicker pace, more fast-paced
Yeah.
action wrestling.
Yeah, but
At least mixed in with
yeah, well, you
the
kind of do
stuff.
have those, but they get beat in like 30 seconds.
Or the people you like Dolph Ziggler,
Yeah.
or Dean Ambrose is going to lose, and then another guy you like is going to lose.
Well, I mean, you have,
And
like, for example, nobody likes Curtis Axel, and nobody likes his stupid promo he keeps doing. Like, I was never eliminated from the Royal Rumble. Axelmania. Axelmania. And that was, nobody liked that promo. Nobody thought it was funny the first time around, but WWE still keeps shoving this stupid promo at us every Raw. I'm like, nobody gives a shit.
another thing I really hate is the commentary,
Yeah.
especially Michael Cole.
He is awful. He is horrendous. He makes mistakes. He doesn't.
He's probably the worst commentary I've ever heard.
Yeah.
For me,
I
I can't think of a worse one.
I mean, Jerry the King's had some moments too where some of the lines he says are just like, that doesn't make any sense at all. I like Booker T, okay, but don't have him ever sing Happy Birthday again because that was awful. But it's just, there's not much.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm hearing all this. I'm talking all this. I'm like, this is a guy that, did I watch wrestling all the time growing up? No.
I didn't either, but
from back in the day, I'm seeing Jake the Snake Roberts,
Yeah.
Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper,
Macho Man.
Macho Man Randy Savage. I'm seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Kane when he was the Red Machine, and now wearing a fucking suit.
Not wearing slacks, not corporate Kane. I'm fucking sick of corporate Kane.
I don't like that. It's shitty.
They just turned Kane into a jobber. That's pretty much what they did.
And a joke.
And a joke. And there was a lot of people,
same with the Big Show.
Rob Van Dam came back and then just as a jobber for everybody. I'm like,
because he has to pass the torch.
I don't care. Like, at this point, it's like, let him have that moment where he walks off into the sunset or something. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at this point if Bray Wyatt beats The Undertaker handily at WrestleMania and then Undertaker retires with 2 losses to show how much they disrespect their fucking fan base. And, I mean, it's... I only thing I can say...
Bray Wyatt, didn't he lose like every single match against John Cena?
He was losing, yeah. He lost to Chris Jericho.
So he lost all these matches, but all of a sudden he's a, quote, a badass.
I never thought he
was continuity.
I never thought he was that much of a badass.
I'm just saying in the not the movie, in the show.
Yeah.
From what I understand, the building up, he's going to be a threat to the Undertaker. I'm like, this is a guy that lost all the time, and now you're going to try to build it that he's a threat for a WrestleMania match.
I know, yeah.
Even though didn't he lose every match
creepy.
to Fruity Pebbles?
Didn't he win a match though? I thought I think
Daniel Bryan. He beat Daniel Bryan.
Okay.
Or the last.
Yeah.
Not last Royal Rumble, the Royal Rumble before.
Yeah.
He beat Daniel Bryan.
Well, he eliminated Daniel Bryan from the Royal Rumble.
Well, this year, yeah. And then last year, he beat Daniel Bryan.
And he lasted forever, and then most of it was just him laying his fat ass in the ring. I understand, yeah.
Didn't Roman Reigns barely do anything either?
Yeah, he just came in and then just
sat
around. Well, that was a shitty Royal Rumble. There was too many people in the ring at too many times doing nothing, and too many instances of big-ass wrestlers just hanging onto the ropes forever.
Kane Big Show just came in and said, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Yeah. Big Show did that again.
Fuck you, Dolph.
He
Fuck you,
knocks out
Ambrose.
Dolph Ziggler. Then he knocked out Dolph Ziggler at Fastlane. It was the same result.
Yeah. I just listen and reading and looking and hearing all this. I'm like, why the fuck should I watch? That's why I don't watch.
I'm not going to watch anymore. Why should I? After I've watched a couple weeks, almost a month of his current product, and I've deduced from what I've seen that this is not worth wasting my time over. I have a shit ton of movies I need to watch and get reviews done. I don't have time for watching
3 hours.
Mediocre.
2.5
It's actually
hours,
more than
whatever.
that. It's like almost 5 hours if I combine Raw and
SmackDown.
SmackDown. And everybody says NXT is better and so forth and so on. I've seen some matches. I'm not that into that either. There's some stuff there, but the Ascension came from fucking NXT. And there's just not a lot of things to be like, yay, WWE. It's awesome.
It's too much at a time. It's maybe shorten it.
Yeah.
Maybe have it 2 hours or
Raw didn't used to be 2 hours, I don't think, right? Didn't back in the day it was like an hour.
I think it was an hour, yeah. But you can have 2 hours and with commercials it'd be an hour and a half.
Yeah. Stop with the talking segments with the Authority talking about whatever, about what they want to do. Stop showing me recaps of what I already saw. This isn't a sitcom, okay? And even sitcoms don't usually do that unless it's a 2-part episode.
Well, I guess the question people would ask was, what would you do or how would you see this getting better?
Well, first off, I would fire the creative team because they're obviously not doing a very good job. I would get a storyline to eventually put the Authority out for good. You basically told the fan base to fuck off bringing them back because your ratings went down a bit more because you started doing the anonymous GM thing. Well, that's your fault because you didn't have a plan in place in the first place for what would happen when the Authority is out of power. You need to have a plan for that, WWE, because it's gonna have to happen. It happened for the NWO. It's gonna have to happen for the Authority, and the Authority isn't anywhere near as good as the NWO ever was. So you need to do something about it. And maybe it'll happen at WrestleMania. Sting beats Triple H's ass, and that's it. But even that match, which I'm interested in, but at the same time I'm leery of because I have really, really bad memories of the last time Sting faced off with a superstar at TNA in a match I was really looking forward to. In fact, there's 2 instances. The first was Sting versus Jeff Hardy. And Jeff Hardy showed up plastered, drunk off his ass, on high on something, couldn't wrestle, didn't know where the fuck he was, and got beat by Sting in a minute and a half.
How long ago was that?
That was,
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe 10 years or something, or something like that.
Oh, was that long ago?
Maybe not, I don't know. 2000, it was in the 2000s sometime, definitely. And I was excited for that, because Sting's my favorite wrestler, so I was like, and Jeff Hardy was one of my favorites, and then after that, I lost a lot of respect for Jeff Hardy. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Get your shit together.
I think it's 2011.
Yeah, 2011, okay.
But I think now he's, like, pretty big there.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's cool. Good for Jeff. And then Sting versus Hogan. That was one of the worst matches. Even the WCW match, that sucked too. So then we had the TNA match, Sting versus Hogan, and it sucks even more. It was embarrassing for both men to watch that match. They were just you were just watching 2 old wrestlers wrestle. And the illusion was ruined. Yeah. And it was just, you felt bad for both of them. And that's not the response you want from a match like that. And that's what I'm worried about is Sting versus Triple H being sort of the same thing. Because Sting is up there in age, so I don't know. I have no idea. Now, The Undertaker versus Sting, there just isn't a build-up for that. And Sting is technically always a hero. So for him to go up against the Undertaker, I think the Undertaker would have to do some sort of heel turn again. But I don't, might be a better match than Triple H versus Sting, but I can see why they're doing that because he's going up against the Authority, and I have to admit I like the scene of Fastlane with the bat and so forth, but I don't know. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns is a huge question mark at WrestleMania, and going back to what they should do is fire the creative team. Let's get people who are in tune with what the fans want, because right now WWE needs to be focusing on not what it wants, not what Vince wants, not what Triple H wants. Put your egos at the door. Realize you're at the moment and you're with your franchise. You're losing money and you're this close to being forgotten about or closing your doors or having to do some serious changes. Listen to your fans. They're the ones that are supporting you still. They're the ones that are still going to your shows, even though buying your merchandise, paying for the network, doing this and that. So stop putting Dean Ambrose in jobber matches. Stop making Dolph a fucking jobber. Um, it's get new talent. Stop giving spots to older wrestlers that could be given to wrestlers, younger wrestlers, new talent that honestly should be have more to do anyway, because you're going to have to get ready for the time when the Canes and the Big Shows and those other guys leave anyway. So you're going to have to prepare for that. And so why not do that earlier on and already have this new stable of younger guys already built up, already have a series of good matches, already build goodwill with your fan base. Because if you just keep doing this willy-nilly, fuck you, fuck off, the Authority does what the Authority wants to do because they're heels, it's just going to get old real quick because people are going to be like, well, you know, same old shit. I've seen this before. The Authority is nothing new. And it's just, you know, and I mean, Randy Orton, okay, came back. Like, how much longer does he have left? Cena needs to turn heel, or he needs to get the fuck out, because honestly, he's just wasting space and wasting time. It's kind of like what I think about in football. So I watch football, I watch the NFL, and these older wrestlers are progress stoppers. They're taking up spots that younger wrestlers that people like should be taking by now. And in the NFL, you have some guys like the older veteran guy, and he's just past his prime and really honestly should be on the bench or traded somewhere or whatever, and the younger guys should take his place and be given a shot. And it seems like the only younger guys you get are Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. Because Dean Ambrose, oh, he'll be lucky to win the title fair and square because Dean Ambrose is a bitch. It's bitch, not Dean Ambrose. I mean, fucking Bad News Barrett. Bad News Barrett's a bitch. Dean Ambrose is not a bitch. But Bad News Barrett is a bitch because he runs away and Dean Ambrose can't win the title fair and square. So it's like, that's why I call Bad News Barrett bitch-ass Barrett. That's what he's bitch-ass Barrett now. If it's a story, it doesn't matter. That's the story you wrote for him. That's what I'm calling him. He's a bitch. He's Dean Ambrose's bitch. And so you have that, and the United States title, we don't need that. Get rid of Rusev, give him a new gimmick, get rid of Lana, get rid of this whole wannabe Dolph Lundgren fucking angle with Rusev. The wrestler himself is talented. He's a big guy who can do some really impressive moves in the ring, like high kicks and so forth. And he's strong. But get rid of this stale-ass evil Russian gimmick. I mean, how many goddamn times has WWE done that already? I mean, it's ridiculous. And like I said, Cena become a heel or get out, because there's really not. He's at the point now where he's up in age. He's got a serious divided. He's divided the crowd base. It seems like the only people who really love him are kids, and that's cool. Give him a cartoon show or some shit so the kids can watch him on WWE Network or some crap or whatever, some animated show like Rock and Roll Wrestling. But and I don't know. Be a little bit more edgy. We are in the era of gritty, dark movies. We're in the era of movies doing superhero films like Fantastic Four that's dark and serious and gritty.
Can't do that because advertisers and
I understand that.
right in the. Also,
That doesn't
even though
make
they
any
won't admit it,
sense because the show USA, I mean, the networks, and there's other networks that have just about as dark and gritty material. I mean, Fox is starting to really push the limits with things like The Following.
but
And
I really do think it's all the other dark stuff as well. It's the Chris Benoit stuff. It's all
yeah,
the other stuff. It's all that stuff as well as.
but that's not the WWE's fault.
I know, but I'm
That's a
just saying I
man
wouldn't be
who was
surprised if they
disturbed and a man who,
took a lot of
he
shots
just
to
took
the
a lot of
head,
shots to the head because his move was the headbutt. I mean, that's really
diving headbutt. Yeah.
diving headbutt. You
That's
learn
why
from
they.
your mistakes and you improve upon them.
That's why they got rid of stuff like chairs to the head.
Yeah.
You
And
cannot hit a guy in the head with a
I'm
chair.
okay with that. I can understand not
No
doing that
bleeding,
anymore. No bleeding. I
like
mean,
blading. And
well, it's probably because
at least they're against blading.
it's that dumbass guy who got in the ECW match. It was like Freight Train or whatever. This guy who wasn't even really a wrestler. He was a 17-year-old kid who somehow got in an ECW match.
Yeah,
And
but that was a
then-
long
I
time.
know it was a long time ago, but maybe some people are like, "Oh, that's why blading should."
No, it's
longer
because
be-
it's PG.
Yeah.
They can't do blading with PG. It's just like back in the day in the Max Moon era, they would not allow blood.
Yeah, but
in
that's the
WWF.
problem. You're dealing with the Max Moon era. Are you gonna stick with this?
That's what this is.
Till you
It's
go
back to that
under,
era.
or are you going to do something about it?
They don't think. I don't think they think they're doing bad.
But the proof
really
is
don't.
in the pudding. It really is. I mean,
Vince McMahon is the type of guy that goes, "You don't tell me what I want. We tell you what you like."
I know, and that's the problem. He's gonna go down with the ship. Then it's gonna be like the fall of the Roman Empire. It's not gonna be pretty. And
I don't think they think they will ever go under.
if you keep telling the fans to fuck off, you are going to go under.
But yet those arenas are still packed.
Yeah.
Even though a lot of people are pissed and like, fuck this and fuck this
Yeah,
and fuck
because there's
this,
not
but then
enough
they go
people-
to the show.
I know, that's the problem.
It's like a movie.
But
This movie sucks, this movie sucks, this movie sucks. Okay, I'll pay for a ticket.
But eventually there's going
Like
to be
Ninja
something.
Turtles.
Eventually there's going to be a point where even those fans hopefully are going to have enough. Unless
I don't
they're
know where it'd be.
die hard.
I don't know where that'd be
either. And it's interesting. I mean, they're doing the WWE Network now. So
Yeah.
maybe they could do more harder edged material just on the network and not on USA. I mean, you can watch old hardcore matches on the network. So maybe you could do exclusive, Attitude Era type things on the network.
What do you mean?
mean, I don't know. I mean, just like I'm just thinking, like just you can do more of the PG-13 whatever type era. What the Attitude Era was technically, right? Was now PG-13 pushing the limits type thing.
But what do you mean do it on the network? Like,
WWE Network.
well, I mean, it's a network mainly just to not only see the pay-per-views, but see the older stuff as well.
Yeah, I know, but you can add new content because.
But like what? Like a new show? Or
yeah, that might get more people to watch it. Maybe a new show. Maybe like a.
But then they want those. You still got Raw. You still got SmackDown.
I know. It's just. It's not.
I'm at a point I don't give a fuck if WWE goes down.
It's not an easy fix.
Right.
That's the thing. It's not an easy fix because of the advertising, like you've said, and the contracts they have with USA and so forth and so on.
But WWE really is. It's like how I feel about Hollywood. I just don't give a fuck if they go down.
Yeah.
Because they don't give a fuck about me. I don't give a fuck about them.
Well,
I don't give a fuck about John Wiener and Southern Succotash and Rosebuds and assholes and bunnymen and.
Yeah. Well, with WWE, there's some people I feel like Daniel Bryan, for instance, people like that who actually are good wrestlers.
They'll do nothing with them.
Yeah,
I
probably.
don't think they'll ever do anything because they never wanted him in there in the first place.
No.
And they're like, okay, he's hurt. We have an excuse now.
Yeah.
And it's a good excuse, but here's our excuse that we can run with it. We can explain to people why. Sorry, he's not going to be the guy. Dean Ambrose, I doubt they're going to do much with him.
No.
If he's
not.
lucky, he'll win the belt at WrestleMania. If he's lucky. Or if not, he'll fucking lose again or disqualify or whatever stupid disqualification.
Yeah. And Seth Rollins will probably still in his beach blonde hair, and he'll cash in and be the title, win the championship. And I'm like, Seth Rollins is...
Which I don't like Money in the Bank anyway. I don't like the concept.
Yeah.
It's a stupid concept.
Yeah.
Because like, oh, he won because he beat the guy in a minute because the guy was hurt.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, he deserves a championship. He's a champion because he beat a guy in a minute that was hurt.
Yeah.
Great champion. Yeah, this makes the belt worth of shit, I guess.
Exactly. It isn't worth as much as it used to be anyway.
No.
They no longer have the two belts anymore. It's all back to one belt.
I didn't know that. I think you only need one belt.
Yeah, only need one belt anyway. The only reason why they did that, I think, is because wasn't it Brock won or something, and then
was one like the WCW or the one was like I don't know.
Maybe, but I think somebody won like both titles or something, and they had to do something about it, if I remember correctly. I
know back in the day, Chris Jericho became the first champion that had both of the belts.
There just isn't a lot of talent right now, and they're not doing much with the talent that they do have. And there's too many jobbers. There's way too many fucking jobbers on the roster. It's like nobody wants to watch somebody jobber get their ass kicked in 30 seconds. That's really not... At least put up a fight. Because otherwise it's pointless. And if you're not going to do anything with the Divas division anyway, then get rid of it. I mean...
So I guess the new episodes got you mad, right?
Well, it's just, after just seeing episode after episode, I just noticed this trend of just the same old, same old, same old. There's nothing that's really nothing stands out. There's a few matches that are entertaining, but that's it. It's just a time waster. I can waste my time doing something else more productive, really. There are times where I just put on Raw or SmackDown while I'm doing my math homework. I'm more interested in my math homework. So, I mean, that shows you how great the current product is. The math homework is more interesting and engaging. It's just, it's sad, and it's something that I don't know what they can do, but they need to do something, because they can't just keep putting their thumb up their ass and just not do anything about it. I mean, unless the fans are just going to keep still paying money, but then I guess they could, because people just like kissing Vince's ass.
Well, they don't. They get fucked.
Exactly.
I think that's what Dolph Ziggler did. And he stood up for himself, and I think that's what he did. And then now he's pretty much a jobber. So
yeah, he had that Survivor Series moment, which is a great moment. I think that was probably scripted, but then he becomes a job, gets fired in the story. That shows you how much respect they have for the fan base. It's a shitty story. And he comes back because Sting comes back and makes it so John Cena wins some impossible match. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
So he can't win back his own job.
Yeah, exactly.
He can't be like, hey, you want your job back? You got to win this match.
Yeah, I know.
No, you got to have John Cena do it.
No, but John Cena...
Because people like Dolph Ziggler, and they want John Cena to be liked as much.
But Cena couldn't possibly win it by himself because it was like a crazy handicap match. So
but he
getting
tried.
his ass beat, and then Sting comes in.
But he tried.
Yeah, exactly. He tried. And Sting came in and gave him the win.
He's a good guy.
Even, honestly, Sting, even the whole thing at Survivor Series, I think Dolph should have just won that match outright. And then Sting would have just come in to stop Triple H from beating up on Dolph Ziggler and the rest of Team Cena. stop the authority, and then from doing that instead of showing up and just basically winning the match for Dolph Ziggler.
Is Sting? Did they use the theme song from WCW, the Crow type thing, for his entrance?
It's
or
kind of like that. They have the crow. You hear the crow squawk.
Yeah.
And then
it's not quite that though.
I don't remember. Like it's. I have to listen to it again.
That's fine. Okay, you can go on.
But yeah, it's Sting and like who else for me? Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns versus nobody else I give a shit about. Seth Rollins I think is overrated. He needs a leather biker bar pants and go back to the Blue Oyster Club, or you can give him back to Snake Plissken because he's the only one that should be sporting the leather pants. And he's got this one blonde streak in his hair, and he's a stooge for the authority. They prop him up. He has the money in the bank. He hasn't cashed it in yet. He's held it for almost a year, and of course he just cheats. That's all he does. He cheats. He never wins a match outright because his fucking security team comes in and saves the day or some shit. But that just gets real old. Am I right? I mean, the best heels aren't cheaters all the damn time. They win matches on their own every now and then. I mean, if to shake the snake, put the snake and let the snake bite people after every match, then the moment when he has the snake bite Macho Man, it would not be memorable. See, that's the thing. In order for a heel to be memorable, in order for them to, they need to win their own matches every now and then.
Well, if they're bad guys, usually they do it any way they can.
Yeah, I know, but they also do win matches. I'm just saying that they do it any way that they can, but there are moments, at least a few, that they actually win a match on their own without interference. That's what I'm talking about. Bray Wyatt's done that, and but of course, you know, his Wyatt family or whatever come in and save him every now and then, but it's just tired stories, rehashes of stuff we've already seen before, done better, or done just as badly here, and stars that people like that just don't, that are over with the fans that just don't get the same respect from the company. Because, like I said, Vince wants you to kiss his ass. If you don't like how his ass tastes, then keep watching, hoping that Dean Ambrose or Dolph Ziggler will actually.
Well, I think that's why some people watch. They watch to see if it gets better.
Yeah, but that's like films today. It's like I still watch stuff every now and then, but I'm not.
I don't.
I'm not paying for it.
I'm not watching at all, no matter what. I just in the realm of don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but there's still some.
I just watch the older stuff,
like Unfriended or something or whatever. But
I was talking about wrestling.
Yeah, wrestling. Wrestling. It's like there's maybe a match every now and then that I'm interested in, but more than likely it's probably going to be disappointing. But there are some matches entertaining. I'll give them that, but it's not enough. The product is not good enough in terms of consistently good enough for me to keep watching it every week.
So hopefully 2 matches out of 3 hours.
Yeah. I mean, that's...
Again, it's not really, you know?
Matches I liked, and then rest of the stuff that I could forget about in a millisecond. It's not worth 3 hours of my time. Just watch the recap on YouTube where they have the match. You see the best parts of the match, and the match end in like 3 minutes.
Right.
But I think I've said enough on this. But first also, I want to say, though, we talked about why it doesn't work now. I want to just end this with, why did it work back then? Why was wrestling...
Well, it depends which era you want to go into.
Well, it could be either era. You could start with the early era. You could start with Attitude Era. You could just... Either of those eras are better than what we got now.
Well, I mean, even if you look back into the 80s, you didn't have 3 hours.
No.
You didn't have 5 hours a week of wrestling. You had, and then you didn't have. You had storyline, but it wasn't tons and tons of talking. It was action. It was let me tell you something, brother. You know,
or Piper's
cup
Pit
of
segment.
coffee.
Where Roddy
Oh,
Piper.
yeah, cup of coffee.
Yeah.
Just cup of coffee.
Ooh, yeah.
The cream of the crop. Ooh,
yeah, exactly.
You had good characters. You had, hey, there's Roddy Piper. There's Jake the Snake. There's
Roddy
Hulk
Piper
Hogan.
smacking Jimmy Snuka in the face of the coconut. I mean, that's pretty memorable.
Or you have, here's your Big Boss Man. Here's Legion of Doom. There's a lot of people that you think nowadays are superstars or legends. And then you get to the Attitude Era, it was, the Monday Night Wars, it was pushing the envelope. It was, what can we do to keep people off guard?
Fighting.
Because competition.
Yeah, Stone Cold fighting Booker
to one
T
up another.
In a supermarket type stuff. I mean, that kind of awesomeness. I mean, that's... Of course, that was after competition was pretty much erased, but still, that was still the Attitude Era. That was still the shocking. That was still the, holy shit, the wrestling is out of the ring now. It's in the supermarket.
Passion. You had, again, a lot of characters. Mick Foley, Stone Cold, Undertaker being, there every week or every other week. Kane when he was first getting into it.
Kane when he was a badass.
DX, the Hardys, the Dudleys, Edge and Christian. Everywhere you looked is a guy who would be a Hall of Famer or a legend or a great superstar.
Came in for a bit and had a little bit of an impact. Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle.
Nowadays, there's a very tiny majority that you even remotely... I can't really think of anyone that I would see as a future legend.
Yeah.
Or a great superstar.
Yeah.
Not saying people you like.
Yeah.
I'm saying, that's going to be a superstar. That's going to be a legend. And it's not fucking John Cena, so because fuck him, even though
he'll probably get in the Hall of Fame.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Because he had one of the longest reigns on top of anyone.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean, like, all you gotta do is just look at the cast of characters of the 80s and 90s. Like, if I look at... Let me see if I can... I want to see if I can find something real quick.
Look at Chris Jericho highlight reel versus The Miz's show. Night and day. Chris Jericho's show, Chris Jericho himself is way better than The Miz. The Miz has won so many titles, but he doesn't deserve a spot in the Hall of Fame.
I think I know the best way to do this. I don't mention some people. I don't put 2 years, one in the old days, one in the Attitude Era. Royal Rumble, 1990. Here's some of the people you had. $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase. Jake the Snake Roberts. Macho Man Randy Savage. Roddy Piper. Bret the Hitman Hart. The American Dream Dusty Rhodes. Andre the Giant. Jimmy Snuka. The Ultimate Warrior. Hulk Hogan. Shawn Michaels. Ravishing Rick Rude. Mr. Perfect. Now let's look at, say, 1998. What are some of the people you had here? The Rock. Owen Hart. People like Ken Shamrock. Yeah. People like Ken Shamrock.
Yeah.
Mick Foley. Yeah, people around today. Mark Henry. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah, Vader. Decent people like Ahmed Johnson.
Yeah.
Let me look at what's around at 2001. I think that's a good year. I'm just going to name a couple of people. I'm not going to name every single one. Royal Rumble 2001. Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, Kane, Raven, let's see, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Big Show when he was getting in there, The Undertaker, Badass Billy Gunn, Rikishi, JBL, aka Bradshaw,
Yeah.
That's just a few people I mentioned there. So you have like all these people
Yeah.
in there.
And here is the Royal Rumble entrance from this year. The Miz, R-Truth. Or
Who does
what?
nothing.
He's just a jobber. That's all he is. Bubba Ray Dudley. Okay. Luke Harper.
For one, by the way, Bubba Ray Dudley just for one, because it's not like he's back.
No, he's not.
He just came in for one thing to do a couple things, and then he's gone.
Even though he was better than a lot of people.
No, he was better. I'm just saying he's not really with the roster.
I know he's not really with the roster. See, that's the thing. You have Bubba Ray Dudley, Luke Harper, Bray Wyatt, Curtis Axel. He was unable to compete.
Who cares about Luke Harper? Who cares about the Boogeyman?
Sin Cara.
Who cares about him?
I see. Sin Cara was he pretty much what he is they brought him back to be a poor man's Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio finally got out of his contract with WWE recently. Good for him. And because they screwed him over anyway. He had one of the shortest title runs ever. And that's bullshit. So did Kane, and that's bullshit too. So Sin Cara, he was talented. He's a talented wrestler, but he's just a jobber. That's all he is.
That's what I meant. I have nothing against the guy. I mean, but they do nothing with him.
Exactly. Zack Ryder. Who gives a shit about Zack Ryder? He made a return because he was returning from injury. Fuck Zack Ryder. It looks like it took all the gay clothes from the 80s and just threw them on. And it's like every gay stereotype you could ever imagine. He's it. Daniel Bryan, okay. Fandango. Talented wrestler. He's got a shitty gimmick. His name is Fandango. The only thing...
They do like a wave or something?
No, he's just...
Or singing or what, something? No,
he dances.
Dances.
He does like... He dresses up like some Latino tango dancer with a rose and shit. And I'm like, this guy's talented, and he's got a shitty gimmick, and his name is Fandango. The only thing I should be thinking of when I think of the word Fandango is that movie ticket website. I buy movie tickets off of Fandango. Fandango's not the name of a wrestler. Tyson Kidd with his rubber gloves. It looks like he's gonna stick him up somebody's ass. Stardust. What the fuck? Cody Rhodes. Never been that talented in the first place, and I don't know why I was suckered into that stupid story between him and Goldust. Still going on. I have another lame match between those two at WrestleMania, probably. Stardust. I think Matt had a good joke about Stardust. I remember. I don't want to steal it from him because it was talking about, like, what's next, right?
Oh, like what's... Yeah. Was it under your video? I'm like,
something like that.
Well, what's next? Is it fucking angel dust? I don't know what the hell else I said.
Angel dust is a good one.
Angel dust, glitter dust.
He does. He blows glitter in the... That's what we got. A guy, face paint, running around hissing like a cat, blowing glitter. Okay? We got a guy dancing in the fucking ring. We got a bunny rabbit. We got fucking Adam Rose and his assholes.
The Dust Devil. Vacuum cleaner.
Exactly. We have Rusev, who's just a walking, talking Russian stereotype that I can't believe this is still going on in today's day and age.
I can. Look at the movies.
Exactly. We just have... I know, I can't believe it, but it's happening. But it's still something that I'm like, why? It's because of the whole PC thing. Police that came in and said, you can't have Middle Eastern villains. So, we ran out of our villains now. Let's change them all Russians. Let's make them all Russians. Either way, it's a shitty gimmick. Goldust hanging on way too long. Kofi Kingston. It seems like all he does is go to the Royal Rumble, do some high-flying acrobatics. That's it. He's a jobber now. Adam Rose.
Speaking of Russians, I think the bad guys at Taken 3 were Russians.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. See? It's just every TV show and movie.
That's KGB or something.
Yeah, Russians. Yeah. Roman Reigns. Big E.
Which does nothing.
Damien Mizdow. Jack
which is
Swagger.
and just David Miz was just in a joke.
It's a shitty character.
Hey, I'm gonna bounce on the floor.
Yeah.
And I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
body
imitate.
slam myself on the floor.
I'm gonna imitate one of the worst wrestlers on the roster, and I'm gonna be his personal assistant and scrub lint off his shoulder and shit.
That's
Jack
a great
Swagger,
character.
who's just now a Mr. American and get my ass beat by Rusev, jobber. Ryback, jobber for the Authority to beat his ass. Kane, corporate jobber.
Honestly, Kane should probably retire.
He
To
should.
be honest.
Because this is just embarrassing and pathetic.
Yeah.
And the Big Red Monster,
it's not there anymore.
It's not there anymore. And he should have never... And he came back and had the mask again briefly and Tombstone pile drive Daniel Bryan and hurt him, sadly. You know, that wasn't a good thing. But still...
Right.
And then they dropped that. They dropped the whole storyline between Big Show and Kane having some blows of words and went to blows. Big Show knocked Kane out in one match. And it's like, oh, whatever. Things are back to normal in the Authority. Shouldn't they have gotten in a feud? That would be interesting. No. Dean Ambrose, who lasted 10 minutes in the Royal Rumble, got his ass knocked, eliminated by Big Show and Kane. Titus O'Neil is who I think he's a jobber because he's tall and he's big, but he is not the best wrestler. Bad News Barrett, Cesaro, Big Show, Dolph Ziggler. So I have 5. Like, how many people in this roster on this entrance for Royal Rumble? Of course, Diamond Dallas Page is one of them as well, but not counting the old legends. Who have I got that I really was rooting for at the Royal Rumble? Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston, maybe.
He's a jobber. He's like Coco Beware.
Yeah.
He is like Coco Beware.
He
People
is.
like him, and he loses.
Roman Reigns, okay. Ryback,
They're going to do nothing with because he did his job to lose the...
Exactly. Bad News Barrett. It's like, it's a whole list of who cares.
Who cares about Bad News Barrett?
It's a whole list of who cares and who gives
Dolph
a shit.
Ziggler, they're
and
going
maybe,
to do nothing with.
Hey, I want to see them do something with it, but it's highly unlikely. So why would I keep watching to see something that is more than likely not going to happen? Like, well, Daniel Bryan was the champion, what, for a month? Or even less than that?
Yeah, not that long.
And that wasn't their own decision? That was just, okay, let's throw the fans a bone for a second, for a while?
Yeah.
He probably wasn't going to have that long of a title reign anyway after he...
Probably get beat by Brock Lesnar.
Even if he didn't get hurt, he'd probably lose to Brock. So
yeah, he will have lost to Brock at SummerSlam or whatever.
So yeah, it's the product's predictable now. It's stale.
I'm not even the biggest fan of some of these guys. Like, I talk about Daniel Bryan, but I'm not going to say I'm a huge fan of him. Same with Roman Reigns. I mean, honestly,
I
with
like
these
Daniel
guys,
Bryan, but I don't love him.
I'm not going to say I hate him. I mean,
Same thing with Roman Reigns. There's
these guys that interest me.
I don't love.
Probably one of the only guys that interests me is maybe Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, I really like Dean Ambrose. That's one I'll definitely...
That's one guy I can say that interests me.
But the other guys I like, but I don't love them. Roman Reigns is a shitty actor and is really shitty on the mic. Daniel Bryan is okay in the mic.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan's okay. I'm just saying I don't...
And his performance in the ring, okay, it's pretty good, but there are some instances where he can get a bit predictable with his kicks and stuff like that. And but still, he's a good... he's one of the better wrestlers right now. And... But yeah, Dolph Ziggler I like, but he always loses, it seems like. I was surprised he beat Bad News Barrett on Raw. I really was. I'm like, what, he won? Wow. Great. Seems like he wins every now and then on the weekly shows, but then loses at the pay-per-views.
Yeah, where it matters.
Exactly. But yeah, I've gone on and on about this, but it's just, it is what it is. This product sucks. It stinks. And there's no reason for me, in my opinion, to keep watching the weekly show. But I will keep I will keep up on who won and who lost and whatever shitty story they're trying to do. And I will still subject myself to the pay-per-views.
How
But
come?
just because I want to, but it's because it's just to give some people who like me talk about the current product something. It's just too much mediocre or shitty product to watch for 5 hours every week for me personally. So it's the product.
I'll watch this guy named Bruce Blitz, who's pretty
Yeah,
funny.
exactly.
I'll just watch him to know what goes on.
Yeah, yeah.
There's no other point.
Exactly. But
At least I'm just speaking for myself.
yeah, he's good too. It is what it is.
Fuck this.
This product sucks. I don't really want to watch the weekly show anymore. You can't.
To be honest, it started sucking when it went from WWF to WWE. To me, that's when it went downhill.
Fuck you, World Wildlife Federation.
Well, like Vince McMahon told...
You're the start of all this.
When Stone Cold interviewed Vince McMahon on a podcast recently, Stone Cold was talking about... Because he's a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
And Vince says, well, we're not in the wrestling business. We're in the entertainment business, Steve.
Well, it's not entertaining. It's...
But it's the fact that, no, we're not in the wrestling business.
No wonder there's
we're
people
in the entertainment business.
No wonder there's people come up and say wrestling is fake. You know, it's fake. Who cares? That's what people say to me. Like, if it sucks now, who cares? Wasn't real anyway. And
I mean, in a way it's fake, but in a way it's real in the fact that
these
people
guys are really
get
doing
hurt.
these real things. They're really getting hurt. It takes a real athlete to do this shit. This is not something that some everyday Joe can just get in the ring and do. And I think that is something a lot of people just overlook. They think, oh, it's scripted. The outcome's already determined. It's not a sport. It's not real. So who gives a shit? And it's
they cared back then, though.
They cared back then, and
because it was a good thing.
It was a good show. It was entertaining. It was entertainment then. The fuck do I got now? Fucking rosebuds and bunny rabbits, jobbers who shouldn't be jobbers getting their asses kicked. The Authority, stale ass gimmick of some alliance.
John Cena.
That's John Cena, Rusev, and fucking bullshit. Like, why? Same shit every week. Why even bother? So, on that note, the product is not what it once was, and there's plenty of proof of that, and I don't honestly see it getting better.
This guy John Cena wouldn't want to be
onomatopoeia.
I got nothing on the show.
Exactly, we got nothing. Nothing. Exactly. That's the reaction most of the time. You either get to a recent Raw or SmackDown is nothing, or a couple good matches, or that sucked. There's not one match, not one Raw, even though they've been above average for the most part. But if I look back at it now and just say average, they haven't been memorable. So why would I watch? I like watching something that I'll remember and want to watch again, not something I watch and forget about it a few hours after I see it. But anyway, thank you for joining me. I hope some people enjoyed this at least. I had a good time. It's kind of distressing to talk about because things used to be so good, but now they're so shitty. It's entertainment that I used to relate to movies and wrestling. It's like glory days are gone, and now we're in the shitter. Now we're in the shit, and it stinks. It sucks. It's not someplace I want to be. But if you love the current product, be my guest. I don't. I'm done. And I will still check out WrestleMania, but I'm going to start doing old WrestleMania reviews and talk about some of my favorite wrestlers and maybe some wrestlers I don't like. like do a video about Seth Rollins, because if you like him, cool. Not impressed. I was impressed with the one elbow drop to Brock Lesnar until I watched some other matches, and I'm like, that's not impressive at all. So many other wrestlers have jumped off the top rope and elbowed somebody through a table. So like that's something that's, oh my god, I've never seen that before, right?
Still, you did a good job.
He did. He did a good job elbowing him through the table.
Just do more of that.
Yeah, but that's the most memorable thing about his match, and that's the most memorable thing about anything he's done lately, is that. Everything else is I'm going to run away like a bitch because it's my story tells me I need to.
So I mean, he could do more of
Yeah.
that stuff.
And I'm going to throw somebody into the ropes, and I'm going to do the curb stomp, a move that's so simple that even your grandmother could do it. Anybody can do the curb stomp. There's nothing impressive about a curb stomp. But that's just me. But anyway, product sucks, and I'm not going to support it anymore. So watch older WrestleManias instead. I'm in the same boat as this guy over here, and I had a feeling that was going to happen. There's so much shit you can take before you're like, I don't want to take it anymore. If I don't have to, I don't have to.
Right.
And then if I kept doing it, every video would just be me bitching about shit.
Yeah. That's why I'm not doing it.
Exactly. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to us bitch about shit for a few couple hours. But anyway, thank you for watching, and thank you for joining me. And stay tuned for some WrestleMania reviews in the future. And I will, I guess, see you guys later.
Later.